Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another edition of Expanded Friday, where we take a look at the expanded format, which is black and white on. Now, we got to see the first test of the expanded format at the Florida Regional Championship. For the most part, expanded decks have just been kind of extensions of standard decks, right? We just see kind of Eviltal decks that add Dark Patch or Seismitoad decks, or we saw Landers, Crobat decks with Level Ball now. It just kind of seems like the regular decks with a few additional cards. It's not very often we see a lot of creativity in the expanded format, but we have an exception here in a deck that did well in an overseas tournament. And this is going to be a deck revolving around, believe it or not, Huntail. So Huntail, I don't think there's ever been a competitive Huntail in the history of the card game, at least not one with any notable tournament success, so this will be quite a refreshing change for the alternate evolution of Clamperl. So, Huntail has the attack Powerful Storm, does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So, when you look at it, it's not a great attack, right? 20 for each energy you have in play. You only get to attach one energy per turn, so that damage isn't adding up very quickly. Also, if you want to knock out a Pokemon EX in one hit, you probably need 9 energy in play to hit for 180. That's not very good either. So why in the world would this ever be good? Well, in the expanded format, we also get Ho-Oh EX. It comes back, reborn again in the expanded format, and has that lovely ability Rebirth once during a turn. If it's in your discard pile, you can flip a coin, and if it's heads, grab it out of the discard, put it on your bench, and attach 3 different types of basic energy cards from your discard pile to Ho-Oh EX. So, the idea here is we want to use Rebirth to get a bunch of energy in play, and then use Huntail's attack, Powerful Storm, to do boatloads of damage. And that's really it. Just a very aggressive deck that revolves around using Ho-Oh's ability and Huntail's attack with great synergy. So, that's it. That's the strategy, but it's a very powerful one. So our Pokemon, very simply, 4 Ho-Oh EX, 4 Clamperl, 4 Huntail, 0 Gorbis. Sorry if you like Gorbis, guys, but Huntail is the card of the hour. And then we're also going to play a Mr. Mime and 1 Jirachi EX for Stellar Guidance. Now, I got to admit that this deck, it looks overly simple, but it's going to get the job done. The biggest thing that concerns me about a deck like this is the fact that you have so many bad starting Pokemon. 4 Ho-Oh EX, not exactly a Pokemon you want to start with. Jirachi EX, not really want to start with it. Mr. Mime might actually be your best starting Pokemon, because starting off with a 50 HP Clamperl is kind of risky, but we can kind of overcome all the bad starters just by being an extremely powerful deck. Alright, so there you have the strategy. Now, how are we going to execute this thing? Alright, well, the biggest card in this deck will be Battle Compressor. Just a card that has opened up so many options for the game right now. You search your deck for up to 3 cards and discard them. So this will allow us to get not only Ho-Oh EX in the discard pile immediately, but all of our different types of basic energy, and rest assured we are running every type of basic energy. That's right, folks. Darkness, Fairy, Fighting, Fire, Grass, Lightning, Metal, Psychic, and of course, Water. We are running every type of basic energy there is. How crazy is that, all in one deck? Of course, we're going to be running 6 water energy since that's what we need to use Powerful Storm, but the rest, just 1 of each, so that we can use Rebirth effectively since you have to get different types of basic energy. So Battle Compressor, mainly going to be used to discard Ho-Oh and basic energy. Otherwise, we have Ultra Ball to discard extra cards. Another way to get Ho-Oh in the discard pile, along with some energy. And really, that's it. Those 2 cards are going to kind of make up the engine for this deck. We have our regular supporters as well. 4 Professor Juniper. You can do something like 4N. Get a Skyla in there. Get a Chorus in there. We got the 4 VS Seeker. And a Computer Search. Now, the player who did win with this deck opted to run Dowsing Machine and a heavier count of Skyla. I think it's kind of at your discretion what you want to play in this deck. But something important to note is that you probably will want to run stadium cards. Silent Lab is that new stadium card that can shut down your basic Pokemon that have abilities, and without Rebirth, this deck is pretty much useless, so we are going to be running a Sky Arrow Bridge just to help out with some retreat cost, and a Tropical Beach as well. You don't really need Tropical Beach, but it seems good since this deck won't really be attacking turn 1 or doing much turn 1 very often, so why not use Tropical Beach? Seems like a decent alternative to attacking on the first turn. Alright, so seeing the supporter cards and pretty much everything else, we just have a couple switch in here to, switch. Tool Scrapper. Garbodor could always be a concern, and 2 Silver Bangle. You could do Muscle Band or Silver Bangle. We're going to go with the Bangle in this case. This way, if we're fighting against a 170 HP Pokemon EX, we just need 7 energy in play and then a Silver Bangle to get a knockout. So that's a big deal. The plus 30 as opposed to the plus 20 is a difference of 1 energy. If we played Muscle Band, we would need 8 energy in play to knock out something like an Yveltal EX. So that's another personal choice there. Silver Bangle or Muscle Band. Of course, Muscle Band would allow Ho-Oh to do more damage if you wanted to attack with Rainbow Burn, but for the most part, we're just going to be attacking with Huntail. So Bangle is a decent choice as well. All right, so there you have it. I mean, there's not much to analyze here. It's a cool deck. It's a very straightforward deck, very effective. It has some clever things here in the build. I mean, with the battle compressor and all the different types of energy, but otherwise, very, very straightforward. You could definitely cut down on some supporters and run Acro Bike instead. I might like that. Of course, that makes you more vulnerable to something like Seismitoad EX, but it's something that might make your deck even more explosive. But let's take a look at a game I played on Pokemon TCG Online, see if we can get some expanded action. I gotta say, it's really difficult to get footage for expanded format games. Not many people play the expanded format online, unfortunately. Most people play standard, myself included, but it is really difficult to find people who actually do play expanded. But I think as more sets come out, it'll become a more entertaining format, and many more options will be available, and we'll start to see all sorts of strategies develop, especially things like Archie's Ace in the Hole, Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. You never know what stuff can pop up, but looks like we're going up against a good old Yveltal Darkrai deck. So I'm going to start off here with an Energy and an N. This is a little bit scary, to be completely honest, right? I mean, we don't have a whole lot of anything here. Got a second Clamperl down to at least avoid being benched out. And let's go with the Battle Compressor. And, definitely going to discard a Ho-Oh EX. It's just a matter of what are the other 2 cards going to be. Since, I might want to get some energy in the discard right away, I'm going to go with the Ho-Oh and 2 different basic energy. You could do 2 Ho-Oh there. I'm going to go just 1. And then we're going to go with the Shell Protection. How about that? So if my opponent attacks me for 50 or less, it gets reduced to 0. So that's actually really big. That'll prevent an Oblivion Wing knockout, even with a Muscle Band. That's really cool. Otherwise, Clamperl is going down this turn, most likely. Right? We might see a Muscle Band, Verbank, something like that. But Shell Protection will actually protect Clamperl. I did not expect that at all. So, all right. Good job, Clamperl. Okay. So, we're certainly going to see an Oblivion Wing. It won't do any damage, but will it get any energy out of my opponent's discard pile? Looks like, no, there's no energy in the discard, so not a great turn for my opponent. So a little bit of a slow start. If my opponent was able to get some aggression there with an Yveltal EX or something, that could have been completely different, but didn't happen in this situation. Got an Ultra Ball. We can discard a couple more energy. We got 4 different types in there so far. If we can find another Battle Compressor, get a bunch more Ho-Oh in there, we could start to dish out some good damage. But we're going to play the N again and go for the Rebirth. Got Tails, unfortunately. And it looks like we're going to go for the Powerful Storm for 40 damage. So you can see just on its own, Powerful Storm is really bad. If we're just attaching 1 energy per turn, it is extremely bad. Even if you attach double colorless, it's still pretty bad. It would count as 2 energy, but you really need like the Ho-Oh to rebirth and get some extra energy in play. Otherwise, it's not going to be doing much of anything. Or, you could do something like Electric's Dynamotor if you want to do another strategy like that, or maybe Blastoise for Deluge. Those are all options, but Ho-Oh is definitely the most fun. So, alright. Now we got Yveltal. We had another laser and a muscle band coming out now. And there is the Oblivion Wing for 50 damage. Thankfully, no Verbank City Gym to make things awkward. Only the 10 damage from poison, so I'm fortunate for that. I'm going to go with the Battle Compressor. Here we go. Now we can start getting those Ho-Oh in the discard pile. Going to discard 2 of them, and then maybe just another type of basic energy. Maybe get rid of that fire that I passed by. There we go. Seems like a pretty good idea. Let's put down another Clam Pearl, and it's time to Stellar Guidance. Let's grab Professor Juniper, and at this point we can actually get all 4 Ho-Oh in the discard pile. Now, we don't have a lot of bench space to get them on the bench, but that's okay. We don't really need it immediately, since we hit for 40 the first time. If we can land 1 of these Rebirth, we can get a knockout. Right, well, we have the 3 energy in play already. We can get a 3 additional energy with Rebirth. So let's go. Rebirth number 1, Tails. All right, we got 3 more. Number 2, Tails. All right, we still got 2 more. Rebirth. Oh, no. Oh, no. 3 Tails and... Oh, thank goodness. Did not get the 4 Tails on Ho-Oh. Oh, that would have been so devastating. 4 Tails. No way. I would have... lost my mind, would have shut down my computer, walked away. 4 Tails. Nope. All right, we got the 4th Heads. Powerful Storm getting the knockout on that regular Yveltal, and now things are starting to pick up. We got 3 Huntail ready to go. I mean, these are really the only attackers, so maybe something like a Super Rod wouldn't be a bad idea in this kind of a deck, right? Just recover your Clam Pearl and Huntail. Maybe even a Trump card wouldn't be particularly bad either. Something to think about. But at this point, if we can just keep getting 1-hit knockouts, I feel like we can't really lose. Right? We got the prize lead. My opponent's going to have to start using EXs at some point. That's just the way that deck is built. And once those EXs start attacking, well, we're going to start getting 2 prizes every time. As long as we can get another Ho-Oh into play, we'll be doing plenty of damage. Right? So I'm going to promote Jirachi EX in this situation since I do have the Sky Arrow Bridge in hand. You can go ahead and play that down, counter the Verbank, and let's go Rebirth. And okay, no triple tails this time. We got 1 heads on the first one. So let's grab 3 different types of basic energy. Get them down. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll be 9 after the attachment. That's perfect. We can go ahead and retreat. And we can Lysander up one of those EXs on the bench. And yeah, why not? Let's bring out that Yveltal EX. Let's play a Battle Compressor. There's not really any useful things I want to discard at this point, but that's the point, actually. We want to discard useless things at this point. N, not going to be a card I want to see anymore. Ultra Ball. We may want to see that since we can Ultra Ball for that last Huntail. But N, certainly not a card I'd like to see anymore. So let's get rid of those. And Powerful Storm for 180 damage. That was just a 1 energy attack. Did 180 damage. Just keep that in mind. Just because we have a bunch of energy in play. Thanks to those beautiful Ho-Oh EX. So now, what does my opponent do? The Yveltal EX just got blown up by Powerful Storm. Got absolutely destroyed. And we're going to see a Via Seeker for N. Fortunately, we thinned the deck out pretty well. Got a Juniper, 2 of them actually, off of that N, so we should not be missing a beat at all here. But yeah, what does my opponent do? I mean, maybe we could see a Night Spear. Looks like my opponent is definitely signaling towards that. We see the energy switch, and there's the energy, so definitely a Night Spear. We also see a Dark Patch. Maybe my opponent could have just held on to the energy switch, Dark Patched first. But, well. There we see the Night Spear, 90, and the poison finishes off Huntail. 30 to the benched Huntail. but I think we'll be able to get a knockout. Even if I don't get a rebirth, we can just silver bangle and get the knockout that way. So here we go. We can rebirth again. Trying to get to my discard pile. It's not letting me go there, but let's just rebirth. Pretty sure we got 3 energy in there. And indeed we do. There are 3 different types of energy coming out. That is a whole lot of energy I have in play. Good thing my opponent doesn't have Leafy on right now. That would be bad. Gonna drop down, I guess a water energy could work here as well. Let's just play the Ultra Ball, just discard Mr. Mime. We are discarding a supporter in Colress, but that's fine. Getting rid of the Ultra Ball and Mr. Mime, pretty good in terms of thinning out the deck if my opponent does play another N. And we'll just VS Seeker for a Juniper in case, you know, some like Seismitoad or Lysander's Trump card could come into play. You never know. So let's go ahead and do that. And Powerful Storm for a lot of damage. Oh my goodness. And my opponent can just Oblivion Wing for 30. That's it. Now we're going to finish off the game with a Powerful Storm. 240 damage for just 1 water energy. Of course, that means we had 12 energy in play, but 1 energy attack, 240, that's pretty cool in my book. So Huntail and Ho-Oh, the unlikely combo, definitely making a splash in the expanded format. And I'm excited to see, you know, as the expanded format develops, how many different strategies we'll see players develop. It's always exciting to see this kind of creativity. And this was definitely one of the more fun decks. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll certainly have some more for you soon. I am Pooka from the Top Cut, and I'll see you guys next time.